Hey guys, welcome to another video review on BuyMeAnIPhone.com. I'm Omar C, and today's video review is brought to you by Maximo, who, among other things, make high-end stereo headsets for the iPhone and also other MP3 players. So today, guys, I'm finally getting around to doing my iPhone 3G review. I've had the iPhone for about a month now. I had planned on doing the review right after getting it at the Apple Store. Of course, if you follow the site and if you follow my story, I wasn't able to get it on the day of launch. So, but then again, at the same time, I realized, it wouldn't be very fair to review a phone I've only used for a few hours. So, I've used it for about a month and I've had a lot of good experience with it. So, I figured now would be a good time to actually give my 2 cents and tell you what I think about the iPhone 3G. So, let's go to the other camera so you can see the close-ups and some of the details when I'm talking about it. And let's talk about the iPhone 3G. Alright guys, so like I said, I've had that iPhone for about almost a month now, and I think I've used it long enough to be able to give you guys a really good review of my true feelings of the new iPhone. And let's just talk about the actual body of the phone, the materials it's made of. Now obviously the new iPhone has a plastic back, it doesn't have the aluminum back anymore. And at first I thought it was going to look really cheap and feel real cheap, and like sometimes plastic kind of gives and moves a little bit, but the backs of these iPhones are real tough, it's real thick. It almost feels like metal, to be quite honest with you. I mean, it's so hard. I don't mind it at all anymore. The glossiness of it does get fingerprints like crazy, but on average, I usually have a case on it, so I really don't notice the back or see it at all. But I would imagine it does probably will scratch a little easier, and it does get fingerprints a lot more. And this new iPhone also is slightly wider. I believe it's 1 to 2 millimeters, a little bit wider this way, and it's a little bit thicker as well. And it does have those tapered edges. The shape of it's different. And I thought at first it was going to be really weird when you place it on the flip. I thought it was going to move around a lot, but it's really not that bad. It doesn't, only kind of side to side, but when it's on a flat surface, it doesn't really move a rock at all. And it does. I kind of do like the edges. It feels a lot nicer when you're holding it in your hand. So that's for the aspect I don't mind. I think that some people think that they went with the plastic back to make it more affordable or to lower the price of it, which is fine by me. I really don't care that much. But I do like how the buttons are metal now. I think that looks real nice. The chrome metal that they have there, and also the chrome standby switch on top. And they also have some nice. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus. Inside the earpiece there's like a little piece of mesh there, and also on the bottom. Get the camera to focus. You can see those mesh covering up the speaker and the microphone. And obviously you can tell there's 2 screws there now as well. So now if you need to replace your battery or replace your screen or actually get into the iPhone, it's a lot easier now because you can remove those two screws and the whole front part should flip up. I'm not going to demonstrate that, but I've seen it on YouTube and there are other places people have taken them apart, so I do know that's what the screws are for right there. So that's as far as the actual look and the materials of the iPhone. Now let's talk about the actual 3G. Now obviously the biggest difference with this iPhone from the older iPhone, it has 3G and it has GPS. Those are the 2 biggest features. In my personal opinion, I think the 2.0 software update that came out was probably the best upgrade of the whole thing. But of course you can get the 2.0 upgrade on the old iPhone as well, so that's not really specific to this iPhone. GPS is pretty nice. I really don't use GPS all that much, so it wasn't really that big of an issue to me. And plus the GPS that it does use, it's kind of simplified. It's not really turn-by-turn direction GPS. It'll just basically show you your pinpoint spot on Google Maps, and as you move, the little spot will move along with you. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully someone will come out maybe with an app that uses it a little bit better, or maybe some turn-by-turn directions would be nice as well. Maybe that'll come with a software update. There are a lot of apps out there that do use the GPS though for geotagging images, and different applications like that. As far as whenever you want to show people your location, it'll actually use the GPS on the phone to do that. Now 3G is obviously supposed to be a faster surfing on the web on this iPhone, and it is much faster. And that would be it's the iPhone 3G, and that's the biggest reason why you got this phone. And I think it really lives up to its name. I think that it probably is more than double the speed it was before as far as the internet goes, internet browsing. And it's almost close to Wi-Fi speeds. Steve Jobs mentioned that in his demonstration. He was talking about the iPhone, and he said that it was probably close to 3G Wi-Fi speeds. And I actually have an app on here, and I'm not going to pull it up right now, but I have an app on here that shows you how how the transfer rate, how fast it's downloading information off the web using the internet, and it is pretty close to Wi-Fi, I will say. Not right up there, but it's pretty close. I can tell the difference. I can really tell the difference between Edge and 3G. Now, the trade-off now that you have 3G is that battery life is going to be disappearing, and I have to say that I am extremely disappointed with the battery life on this iPhone. In the demonstration when Steve Jobs announced it, he mentioned how better the battery life would be as far as listening to music, surfing the web, all that kind of stuff. I don't know where he got his figures from, because I haven't experienced any good battery life at all on this phone. Half the time I was, maybe not as often now anymore, but I would turn off 3G most of the time because I barely even used it, and because I'm always around the Wi-Fi spot, and so when using 3G, it sucks battery like crazy, and it's really frustrating. I could go a day without ever charging, and now I have to at least charge halfway through my day, and that's when it's just sitting there at my desk and I'm barely using it. I'm just checking my emails or checking my text messages and that type of thing. So I'm really disappointed about that. Battery life is terrible. Hopefully they can maybe come up with a software update that can fix that in the future. I can only pray, because it's pretty bad. It's almost like a secondary battery or an external battery is something that you should always have with you on a regular basis now. But so battery life is not that great. And to be quite honest with you guys, if it wasn't for this website and for the reviews I do all the time, and obviously I'm doing my reviews with the new iPhone 3G accessories. If it wasn't for the website, I wouldn't have bought this iPhone. I would have been fine with Edge. I would have been fine with my $20 data rate plan instead of paying $30 a month. In my opinion, the battery life is terrible. 3G is way faster than Edge, but on average, I'm usually always around the Wi-Fi spot, whether I'm at my office, at my home. There's Wi-Fi everywhere, so I barely really need 3G as it is. I was pretty content with Edge as it was. It wasn't a big deal for me, and so if you have an iPhone 2G, the original one that came before this one, and you're pretty content with it, I wouldn't recommend buying a new iPhone. I think, like I said, the biggest update was the 2.0 software update. That was the biggest reason to get this iPhone, but you can get that on the old iPhone as well, and the App Store and all those other things. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. I know it's probably hard to believe that I'm saying, I wouldn't have bought this iPhone because I'm such a Apple fanboy, but I'm being quite honest. I think there's not much improvement between this one and the new one. It has the same exact camera, same features, worse battery life. Basically, all it has is GPS and 3G, and I could live without both of those things. So that's gonna be it right now. I'm sorry. I was hoping. Hopefully, you guys aren't too disappointed by my review, but that's just how I feel. Overall, I do love my iPhone 3G. It's an awesome product, and I know that it can only get better from here. And hopefully, Apple will address some of the issues that people are having with battery life and some of the other glitches that are going on with the software 2.0 software update that came out, as far as lagging and different things that are affected by that. But overall, it's an awesome phone. If you don't own an iPhone, I would definitely recommend to buy an iPhone. I can guarantee you, even if I didn't have the website, even if I didn't run buymeianiphone.com and did these video reviews, once I bought the iPhone, I will never own another cell phone ever again. The web surfing experience and just the way it works and the functionality and the ease of use. I've used a lot of smartphones before, and this is probably the best I've ever used. And maybe my opinion's a little biased because I am an Apple fanboy, as some put it, but still. There's no other phone that's like this. There's tons of touchscreen phones, and that's pretty much all they are. They're touchscreen phones. They're not as intuitive and as innovative as the iPhone. So if you don't own an iPhone 3G, go buy one if you're looking for a new phone. If you own an iPhone 2G and you're wondering if you should get the newest one, my recommendation, keep your iPhone 2G for a while and wait for the iPhone 4G next year, whatever the next version is going to be, because I'm sure next year we'll be waiting in long lines once again to get the new iPhone. So then this is Omar C, and this is my review of the iPhone 3G, and you're on buymeianiphone.com. Thanks for watching, guys.